Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here, for clicking on the video. I appreciate you coming on through. Let's go ahead and listen to some Tori Amos. We're going to listen to the next track off of the album, Little Earthquakes. We listened to Crucify quite a while ago. So we're moving on to Girl because I've been wanting to come back to Little Earthquakes for a long time. There's just, as I always say, there's so much music and it takes me a long time sometimes to get back around. But here we are today at this point, at this time. Soyaki. Hopefully you're a key, and together we'll listen to some good music, and we'll talk about it a little bit after. So let's go ahead and give it a listen. This is Girl, Tori Amos. Let's go.
From the shadow she calls, and in the shadow she finds a way, and in the shadow she crawls, clutching her faded photograph, my image under her thumb. Yes, with a message for my heart. Yes, with a message for my heart. She's been everybody else's girl. Maybe one day she'll be her own. Everybody else's girl. Maybe one day she'll be her own. Hey, and in the doorway they stay, and laughers, violins filled with water, screams from the bluebirds can't make them go away. Well, I'm not 17, but I've curls on my knees, falling down as the winter takes one more cherry tree. She's been everybody else's girl. Maybe one day she'll be her own. Everybody else's girl. Maybe one day she'll be her own.
That's good.
Everyone else's girl. Maybe one day she'll be her own. And what she was, that's his girl. Maybe one day she'll be her own. Everyone else's girl. Maybe one day she'll be her own. Everyone else's girl. One day she'll be her own. And in the mist there she rides, and castles are burning in my heart, and as I twist I hold tight, and I ride to work every morning, wondering why. Sit in the chair and be good now, and become all that they told you. The white coats into her room, and I'm calling my baby, calling my baby, calling my baby, calling everybody else's girl. Maybe one day she'll be her own. Everybody else's girl. Maybe one day she'll be her own. Everybody else's girl. Maybe one day she'll be her own.
What an incredibly emotional song that one is. Tori gives us a lot to chew on. She gives us a lot to think about with this particular track. I love her voice is just very mystical, very, very emotional, very passionate. There's so many different feelings that, at least personally, I hear in her voice, from this wonderment to sadness, perhaps regrets, but also strength and hope. There's so much going on within just the textures of her voice. I love that. The piano playing I thought was really nice as well. There's a certain delicate kind of nature to it, a little bit of a rustic nature, especially when you can hear it more in the ending and in the beginning of the track. The strings at certain points come in at first sharp cuts, and then to really swell up and liven up the instrumentation here, alongside the guitar, which I thought was a really nice kind of sideman, a wingman on this particular track. But the lyrics, while I don't know exactly what's happening, I can tell that there's a sort of picture that's being painted that Tori wants us to focus on, and I think that some attention needs to go to the lyrics on here. I like the depth of the drums as well. I forgot to mention that as we were going through. This was a really, really nice track. I went to say the next word, and I got choked up. Okay. From in the shadow, she calls, and in the shadow, she finds a way, finds a way. In the shadow, she crawls. So first she's calling, now she's crawling. From words to action. Clutching her faded photograph, my image under her thumb. Yes, with a message for my heart. She's been everybody else's girl. Maybe one day she'll be her own. So perhaps this girl is being used, never being able to have some sort of independence, never able to call herself her own, like never having a certain personal ownership of herself. Maybe her body, her mind, her heart. Maybe she's always been under the thumb of someone else. Hey, and in the doorway they stay, and laugh as violins fill with water. Screams from the bluebells can't make them go away. Well, I'm not 17, but I've cuts on my knees, falling down as the winter takes one more cherry tree. Okay, so this is what I'm thinking, and I could be completely wrong, but here's what I'm thinking, just because of some of the words and things that I'm thinking of, and never having authority in a sense over her own body. Maybe she's in a sense being abused. It could be sexual abuse. The only reason I'm kind of leaning towards that is falling down as the winter takes one more cherry tree. Cherry, a symbol of virginity, the winter, death, something cold, something unfeeling, taking that tree, taking that fruitage, taking that innocence away from her. That's what I'm kind of leaning towards. Everyone else's girl, maybe one day she'll be her own. Everyone else's girl. And then I think what was really cool, actually, musically, at that point in this part in the bridge, when Tori is singing "Everyone Else's Girl," in between her lines, there's a male singing who also says "Everyone Else's Girl." Tori says, "Maybe one day she'll be her own. Everyone else's girl." And then the male voice says the counterpart. He says, "One day she'll be her own. Russian rivers thread so thin, limitation. Dreams with the flying pigs, turbid blue. And the drugstore's too safe. In their coats and in their dues, yeah, smother in our hearts a pillow to my dots." So the way that the guy is singing is completely different than what Tori's singing. Also interesting that a man is brought in to sing backup or counter to that part, which kind of also works in the theme of the lyrics here. So that's kind of interesting. I gotta admit that I don't quite know what's happening at that point, but there's something happening. In the midst, there she rides, and castles are burning in my heart. And as I twist, I hold tight, and I ride to work every morning wondering why. Sit in the chair and be good now, and become all that they told you. The white coats enter her room. I'm calling my baby, calling my baby. And that part is extremely powerful when she's actually singing those moments. So the question is, who are these white coats? Doctors, scientists, psychologists? I don't know. But like I said in the beginning, I don't know exactly what's going on in the lyrics here, but there is some sort of strong message behind this. Let's see if we can find out. Let's see if we can find some information on this particular track here. And maybe we'll dive a little deeper into it. So looking on Genius here, it says that the beginnings were composed on an old upright piano at her parents' farm. It's horribly out of tune, which is one of the things I love about it. The chorus was written, but that's about it. I threw it down on tape and forgot about it. Months later, I was cleaning the house and was throwing tapes away. Eric intercepted this one out of the pile. I was chopping onions in the kitchen. He brought it in and said, "Listen." I did. but I don't see any more particular information about this track. Let's give it one more shot, Tori. Girls, let's see if anything pops up just by chance. Sometimes you can't find like a direct interpretation, which is oftentimes the best, but sometimes you might also be able to find other people's interpretations, which kind of helps you figure out what's going on. I guess this is a quote from her. It says, "It's not an aggressive fight, it's an internal fight. That when you need other people's approval, when you walk in a room, you're everybody's or anybody's girl. When you don't need that anymore, it's because you have an understanding and an agreement with yourself on who you want to be. And when I say who you want to be, that's going to evolve. But at least you've got to get your palette, your paint, your canvas, and say, I'm not choosing to tell this story, which is doing anything to have success. I don't want that kind of success." So she's kind of, I understand what she's saying with that internal fight, not needing other people's approval, relying solely on yourself, which kind of works with the line where she said in the lyrics that people were laughing at her at the doorway. But she doesn't need anyone else's approval because as long as she's happy, as long as you're happy and satisfied internally with who you are and what you become and where you're going, then what else do you need? What other approval and whose other approval do you need? Okay, I kind of understand. I'm getting it a little bit. We're twisting it a little bit. All right, great track though. Let me know what you guys thought of it. You can let me know in the comments down below. You can follow me on Twitter. You can support the channel on Patreon. As always, I appreciate you being here and listening to the music alongside me. Have a wonderful rest of your day, guys. I'll see you later. Bye.